Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energies for both the collective and the individual life path numbers for June 2022. Before we get into the forecast, I just want to let you know that for those of you who have been asking me to bring back the numerology one question readings, those are now available once again on my website if that's something that interests you. It's an opportunity for if you have a burning question that you just want a quick, concise response to. It's a great affordable option for that. So you can just book some time with me on my website. The information is in the description box below for that. I look forward to seeing you there. And of course, if you would like a more in-depth reading, those are also available, or a coaching session. Those are available as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the forecast. And of course, I will mention that this is a general reading. So again, if you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. All right, so June 2022 is a 12-3 universal cycle. And so typically the energy of the 3 brings with it this big explosive energy of creation, networking, social events, travel, recognition. However, with the strong influencing energy of the 12, we can feel that energy sort of muted slightly, and the focus shifts more towards reevaluation, changing, or sort of reversal of a creative endeavor or life experience. This can be a period of waiting, letting things take care of themselves now through surrender and acceptance without the need for force or control. So under this 12-3 energy, a change in perspective will serve us well, allowing the cycle to work for us rather than trying to overly dominate something. Observe, reflect, meditate, repeat. There is a lot of sort of serenity associated with this energy if we choose not to fight it. You may find that new information or clarity now brings reversals in what we thought we once fully knew. I'm actually facing this myself at the moment, so this is somewhat personal. You may need to make big compromises now on long-term goals or visions in order to fully appreciate and experience what is trying to come in for you right now. With this vibration, success is achieved through acceptance and understanding. The more flexible that we can be with long-term goals and expectations, the more fulfillment we will have within our current right now experience. So try not to fight these forces, but rather flow with them, and the results will be much more satisfying. Try to stay very present within the now and pay attention to sort of your mindset now. Are you self-sabotaging or supporting yourself on this journey? So staying within or coming back to the present moment and doing so often can assist us in seeing very clearly what is actually working and what isn't, what needs your attention right now and what doesn't, and what is a rational fear versus an irrational fear, and what needs to actually be overcome within this moment versus allowing something to unfold further in order to see how it actually plays out. So trips of any kind are very much supported under this energy, especially ones that are solely for enjoyment and exploration or rest and rejuvenation. This is a great time for vacations, both near and far. Ultimately, use this gift, this energy, as an opportunity to see things as they really are and not as they appear to be. Bring the conflicting polarities into some level of perspective now within your mind and create much more harmony within your environment by recognizing the reality of what you are actually currently working with and move from that space. This is a great cycle to pause and observe to gain greater clarity. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a closer, deeper look at each individual life path number for June. Life Path 11-2. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all for June, and you got Butterfly Spirit. And so Butterfly's message is transformation is beautiful. And so of course we think about the beautiful butterfly emerging from the cocoon, transformed and taking flight and all those beautiful metaphors. But I do think that the month of June for you all is going to bring opportunities for transformation within self, within relationships, how you show up to relationships, how you accept others showing up to you in relationships, where that needs to change or morph, where it could potentially be better, where maybe you could make some adjustments or modifications to make it better. Communication, I think, will come into play this month a lot in relationships, and not just romantic relationships, just across the board in your relationships with others. Your core life path energy is that of the 2, which is all about balance and relationships and bringing people together and mediation and all of those things. And so I do think that there's going to be many opportunities this month to really step into that energy. And I do think that there's going to be the potential for a lot of change, again, transformation, all of those things. And I do think that it's going to be important to remember butterfly and remember that transformation can be a very beautiful thing, right? Like change can be a very beautiful and beneficial thing. Change will get us out of our rut. Change will get us out of our comfort zone. It will force us to make better decisions for our environment and our experience and ourselves. And so there's really something to really take to heart when it comes to transformation and Butterfly's message. So I do think that you're going to have opportunities this month to change, transform, just see things a little bit differently when it comes to relationships, family obligations, social obligations, that sort of thing. So your work commitments, how you show up to work, how, what you put up with when it comes to work, all of those things. So just be aware of that. And just remember that though when we're in the sort of metamorphosis phase, it can feel, it can feel challenging. It can feel it's knocking us around. It's putting us outside of our comfort zone. It's putting us in unknown territory, and that can be scary and that can be overwhelming. And so we just have to honor those feelings as they come up, but don't let that hinder us from moving forward through those changes and transformations, because what's on the other side of that change and transformation is a set of wings that we didn't have to begin with. So that can take us much further. So I think that's important to remember. For June for you all, again, lots of energy around change and transformation coming in very, very strongly. Pay attention again to your family life, your home life, your siblings, extended family, that sort of thing. You may notice things come up abruptly that need your attention when it comes to like home, family, relationships, that sort of thing. And also, again, as mentioned, your social environment. So like where you spend a lot of your time, where you go after work, where you, go to the gym or whatever. You may notice things surface around, again, those social environments or your community at large that need your attention or that are changing in some way. So just kind of pay attention to that. Think of the June for you all as sort of like a temperance energy. It's very much about like a checkpoint. You're checking in to see, okay, I might be in the middle of this change and transformation, but how's everything looking? Where do I need to make some adjustments? Where do I need to sort of put more attention or more energy into whatever this is so that I can assist this change and nurture this change so that, I feel like I've got some kind of say in the outcome, right? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But I do see this as sort of like a checkpoint month for you all. Again, to check in holistically, body, mind, spirit, just make sure things are good. Check in with your relationships, check in with family, that sort of thing, your social obligations and whatnot. And if there's things that need adjustment or changes, then you can be at the forefront of that instead of sort of waiting for divine intervention to take hold and to do it for you. So competitive situations may also come into play this month as well. So this can be around money. This can be around resources. If you're in some kind of like a custody battle, this can be around children, something like that, unfortunately. So just be really aware of competitive situations. 2 energy, which is, of course, again, your core energy, 11s. It's all about bringing people together. It's all about harmony. It's all about balance and seeing a bigger picture and being unbiased and not creating divisiveness or bias in a situation. And so when something competitive comes up, it can be easy for 2s, especially if you're more like in your shadow period or in a shadow period, to kind of get involved in that competitive situation and really dig your feet, your heels in and be very stubborn. And you're only contributing to that divisiveness at that point. And so just be really mindful of where you're being overly competitive, where you're sort of like win at all costs, where you're being very stubborn, where, again, it would maybe benefit you more to fall more into your natural essence, which again is that 2 energy of bringing people together, finding common ground, finding the harmony in a situation and contributing towards that as opposed to the competitive situation. So this would be a month where I would say release your need to be right and be kind without giving up, who you are or your own truth or whatever. But I think that's important to remember. Vigilance is going to be key for you all as well. So I would say if you're signing any contracts, if you're doing any contract work, if there's anything where you're signing the dotted line, make sure you are very vigilant about reading the fine print, having somebody else read over the document for you, getting legal advice if you need to. Just making sure that you are very much aware of what's going on. If you're having some kind of a medical procedure, make sure that you are your best advocate and you speak up if something doesn't sound right or doesn't feel right. Anything where you could take the responsibility and, again, be your own best advocate, that's going to be really highlighted this month. So this is not a month to just blindly say yes to whatever, to please the other person, because it might come back and bite you a little bit, or you might get buyer's remorse. And I would say this is the case, especially for things that are like high risk, like not necessarily like high risk, but more like long-term commitments, right? So if there's anything that you are signing your name to or committing to that has the potential to be long-term, I would say be very vigilant, take your time, move slowly, check in with yourself, have somebody else again read whatever the document is, or get their advice, and then take that perspective into account before making a long-term decision. This is also going to be a month for you 11s where you need to be very adaptable. So make sure, because there's going to be changes, there's going to be transformations, there's going to be things that are sort of percolating under the surface and then just all of a sudden show up and you need to make a decision. So you have to be decisive. But there's also this energy of releasing control and knowing that you don't always have control, which obviously is very difficult at times for all of us. And so you're going to have to be adaptable. You're going to have to be like a chameleon, really, and move with that energy and see where it takes you and not fight it. The more we fight it, the more uncomfortable it becomes, the longer we draw out the process. Because there's some things that we just don't have control over when it comes to our environment, to certain situations. And so you just got to move with it. You need to be adaptable. You have to feel whatever comes up for you, because sometimes through this adaptability, through these transformations, through this change, there can be a substantial amount of grief associated with that in releasing whatever it is that you need to release, to allow for this new thing to come in, this new change to come in, and to honor that. And so any feelings that come up for you, any emotions, move through them, feel through them, transmute them, and find ways to work with them. But adaptability is going to be a really key energy for you all or really basically your mantra for this month. So just roll with the punches as much as possible and just know that wherever this tide is taking you is for your best interest. It's in your best interest for your higher good. So I would say try not to self-sabotage yourself this month by really being too stubborn or being so adverse to change and so like frightened of change that you fight it tooth and nail, because ultimately our soul is in the driver's seat, and it's in cohorts with the universe to get us to where we want to be in this lifetime. And so if our ego fights it, we just make it more uncomfortable for ourselves, because eventually we're going to go where our soul wants to go anyway. So we might as well not fight it, and we might as well be in union with that energy, because it is us, right? So I would just say, just be careful of self-sabotaging. Like some kind of change or opportunity comes up for you and you say no to it out of fear, or fear or indecisiveness, or whatever the case may be, because you will eventually get to wherever it is the universe is trying to take you, or your soul is trying to take you. So I would just say, go with the flow, go with the transformations, feel anything that comes up for you and work with it as it comes up. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, 11s. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope that June is a beautiful month for you. I'm pretty sure it's going to be transformative, but in a really, really good way. All right, take care, everyone. Bye for now.